Hare Krishna. Somebody can please lead the invocation prayers.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
Om Ajnanatiramandasya Jnananjadashadakaya Satguru Viditam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manovishyam Stapamam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Kadanteshwar Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yudapadakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagrajadam Sagaguna Raghunantam Titam Sajivam Satvaidam Sabadudam Parijana Sakitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagaguna Lalitam Sri Vishankant Pitancha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Sripati Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Hidavanu Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vanchakalpa Tarubhikshya Kripa Sindhu Evacha Paditanam Pavanesho Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Ashwaita Gadadara Sri Vashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming. So today we will cover Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, chapters 18 and 19. Chapter 18 will start from verse number 9 and we'll finish this unit number 11. So next week, 2nd June, we can have the revision of unit 11 by you all doing the presentations. Thank you all for choosing your respective presentations. I still do see there are few slots open. I think it's Sridhar Prabhu and Kalyani who are yet to choose. I don't see them here also. Actually, no, I'm seeing it right now. So Sridhar Prabhu and Kalyani have also made their choices. Okay, so everybody is set for presentations next week. Let's begin with you all explaining one or more points and asking one or more questions.
Prabhu, may I start with this?
Yeah.
The two demons came out of the womb of Deti, the Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Hiranyakashipu is very soft and pious. Hiranyaksha wanted to please his brother. He wanted to show his might. We do not know the reason why he wanted to show the might in front of his brother. But however, he was challenging everybody. Finally, he is coming to Varuna. And Varuna is now challenged. Varuna never wanted to fight with him. And with all obeisance says that he can meet the Lord for such purposes. This is what we read the last meeting. This is my humble.
Did you say that he was pious?
Kashyap was, Hiranyaksha was not pious. He wanted to show his might, but Kashyap was not for it, and he's very neutral that way.
Okay, so both brothers are demons. They are not definitely not pious. They were not designed to be pious. Okay, so I'm not sure where you got that. Okay, but continue.
Yes, this is what I understood.
Okay, Shivangi.
Prabhuji, just a question about the lecture, and we were talking about in yesterday's class too. Prabhupada was saying when you meditate on Krishna, don't go directly to the face, just start with the lotus feet. A question I had was, does that mean when we go to the temple, we should never look at his face, like their faces? We should just, like when the darshan is there, we should just look at their feet?
So we should start taking darshan from the lotus feet. Shivangi, have you attended His Grace Bhakti Yoga Prabhu's class where he explained how to take darshan?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, so he has explained that you start taking darshan from the lotus feet, then go little by little up and absorb each part. Yes, you can take a look at the face, but not directly. First, show your humility to look at the lotus feet and submit yourself and ask for service at the lotus feet. And then, yes, you can look at the face, just not straight away.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay, very good. Rest of you also all heard Prabhupada lecture. Any points you can raise from there also?
Hare Krishna. Earlier challenges Varna, who is not an ordinary person, but by humility, he says, I have become old. So there is a person who will match with your might, that is Lord. So Hiranyaksha was very egoistic. That is how he went down and the deep ocean, casual ocean where Lord was seated, holding the earth. And then he went and challenged. But whatever criticism he made, all were glorification of the Lord. I want to add many, but I will leave it for others.
Okay, very good. So yeah, the criticism were indirect glorification. Okay, very good. Rest of you, any questions, any points from Prabhupada lecture? Anybody? Oh, okay.
Really, can I continue some more points if you like?
Yeah, for sure.
Coming again to this indirect glorification, Avya means killing. Killing what? Not the human being, the process of birth and death. That is what the indirect glorification. Extinguishing the misery by liberation. He challenges the law that you killed Asuras, demons. You are giving Yogamaya, due to Yogamaya, spiritual destruction. You are offering spiritual destination. Lord is also feeling is satisfying when you offer prayers. When you criticize, he is unsatisfied. As per Bhagavad Gita, everything happens, it is with Lord's direction. That's what I want to conclude.
Okay. Okay, good points. Anybody else? Any last comments, questions, realizations?
If you want some more, I can tell Prabhuji.
Okay, go ahead.
The four Kumaras, they knew when they came, the clouds were dark, there is a lot of destruction. They knew because it is due to their curse. these four sages, due to the curse of JVJ, all these things are happening. But they realize their mistake, because when JVJ apologized to them that it was an offense and fell at their feet, they realized that a mistake, and the Lord himself personally came to protect, as Lord protects always his pure devotees, came there to protect JVJ. And he showed his intimacy to JVJ and by coming there. And then they were sent there, one to satisfy the desire of fighting spirit of the Lord, as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. But
Okay,
they,
okay, good point.
that's what I.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Okay, so we'll continue with Canto 3, Chapter 18 onwards, and to lay the recap of where we are. So, inauspicious omens after the birth of the twin brothers Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu were visible. When we face problems in life in the material world, we should approach an authority or spiritual master. And this is an important symptom of devotee. Whereas demons, they don't want to accept any authority. The demon's permanent goal is sense gratification. Hiranyaksha conquers all directions. Hiranyaksha is challenging Varuna. Varuna shows his humility and says that he, Varuna, is old. And then Varuna says that Vishnu is the best person for Hiranyaksha to fight with. Hiranyaksha criticizes the Lord, but indirectly they were glorifications of the Lord. Lord also has feelings. So when you offer prayers, he is satisfied. If you call him by ill names, then he is unsatisfied. So we'll continue with part 2 of chapter 18, verses 9 to 12. Title is The Lord's Fitting Reply to Hiranyaksha. So Lord is duty bound to lift earth. Even though Hiranyaksha criticized the Lord was tolerant, was dutiful. Lord placed the earth on water and made the earth float. Here, Lord is teaching demigods that while doing your duty, some obstacles may come. Don't be disturbed at any time. Be fixed in discharge of your duty. Lord says that when Hiranyaksha criticized me, I tolerated. I did not throw away earth. I placed the earth on water and made it float. Similarly, you demigods must discharge your duties and not be afraid of demons, and should have faith on the Lord. Lord was angry upon hearing abusive words and laughed at the hidden meanings of the words, which were actually glorifications. Therefore, in Lord's reply, the Lord's fitting reply to Hiranyaksha also has two meanings. We will discuss and read as we go along. Is our dear Aditi able to read verse 9 translation and purport, or Kalyani?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Is it chapter 18, 9 and 10 verses, Prabhu?
Chapter 18, verse 9, translation and purport.
Okay, Prabhu. The demon who had a wealth of ornaments, bangles, and beautiful golden armor on his body chased the Lord from behind with a great mace. The Lord tolerated his piercing ill words, but in order to reply to him, he expressed his terrible anger. The Lord could have chastised the demon immediately while the demon was deriding the Lord with ill words, but the Lord tolerated him to please the demigods and to show that they should not be afraid of demons while discharging their duties. Therefore, his toleration was displayed mainly to drive away the fears of the demigods, who should know that the Lord is always present to protect them. The demons' derision of the Lord was just like the barking of dogs. The Lord did not care about it, since he was doing his own work in delivering the earth from the midst of the water. Materialistic demons always possess large amounts of gold in various shapes, and they think that a large amount of gold, physical strength, and popularity can save them from the wrath of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shall I go ahead with 10 as well, Prabhu?
Yeah, go ahead, Prabhu. 10, translation and purport.
10. The personality of God had said, "Indeed, we are creatures of the jungle, and we are searching after hunting dogs like you. One who is freed from the entanglement of death has no fear from the loose talk in which you are indulging, for you are bound up by the loss of death." Purport. Demons and atheistic persons can go on insulting the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they forget that they are subjected to the laws of birth and death. They think that simply by decrying the existence of the Supreme Lord or defying his laws of nature, one can be freed from the clutches of birth and death. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that simply by understanding the transcendental nature of God, one can go back home, back to Godhead. But demons and atheistic persons do not try to understand the nature of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they remain in the entanglement of birth and death. Hare Krishna.
So, analogy is, if one spits on the sky, that spit will fall on us. Similarly, if we criticize the Lord, we are going to be affected. And another meaning of Lord's reply is that we are seen by pure devotees. And mercifully, I search out sense enjoyers to deliver them, since one who receives my mercy is not subject to birth and death. Everybody with me? Questions, comments, realizations?
Prabhuji, please repeat it. Just a little needs clarification. Mercifully engaged. If we criticize, it will come back to us like the spit which falls on us when you spit on the sky. Mercifully, the enjoyer, the Lord. Subsequently, I couldn't follow.
Okay, so the analogy is that if you spit on the sky, that spit will fall on us. Similarly, criticize the Lord, we are going to be affected. So the dual meaning of Lord's reply is that if you read the verse, it says that Lord says, we are creatures of the jungle. So if you go back to Hiranyaksha's response earlier, he called the Lord as Vanagochara, that you are animal. And that's what God is saying. Yes, I am creatures of the jungle, searching after hunting dogs like you. So the real meaning, what the Lord says, that mercifully I search out sense enjoyers to deliver them, since one who receives my mercy is not subject to birth and death. So that's what the Lord is saying in the dual meaning way, that I search out after sense enjoyers and shower my mercy Because if the Lord kills, then that soul is not subject to birth and death. Does that help you?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, Shivangi, verse 11 translation.
Hare Krishna. Certainly, we have stolen the charge of the inhabitants of Rasatala and have lost all shame. Although bitten by your powerful mace, I shall stay here in the water for some time because, having created enmity with the powerful enemy, I now have no place to go.
So the another meaning of Lord's reply is, I am receiver of devotional offerings, even from demons. I must battle with you to derive bliss from fighting because of the enmity in you caused by the curse of Kumaras. Where else shall I go? Mother Jija, verse 12 translation.
Verse 12 translation. You are supposed to be the commander of many foot soldiers, and now you may take prompt steps to overthrow us. Give up all your foolish talk and wipe out the cares of your kith and kin by slaying us. One may be proud, yet he does not deserve a seat in an assembly if he fails to fulfill his promised word. Hare Krishna.
So here also another meaning of Lord's reply is that filled with prema, you have accepted the mood of a demon as a promise you gave me to give me happiness of fighting. He who does not keep promise is unfit to sit in the assembly. Therefore, make me happy by fighting. So where it says promise you gave me refers to Jai Vijay giving the promise to the Lord to fight, and not fit to sit in an assembly refers to not fit to be in Vaikuntha Loka. Questions, comments, realizations on the Lord's fitting reply? Shivangi?
He talks so nicely, Prabhuji. Lots of hidden meanings.
Very good. Yeah, yeah. We'll discuss this in later part in Canto 3. Actually, we did discuss in the Kumara section also that the Kumaras could not understand whether the Lord was angry or happy with them. But irrespective, the Lord's words and the voice was sweet. Therefore, they continued to talk and glorify the Lord. And the same thing here. Very good observation, Shivangi. That yes, the Lord is tolerating and responding in a sweet way with the dual meaning, using the same words that Hiranyaksha used. So if you actually compare the Sanskrit words that Hiranyaksha used, and Lord is using same words, but then has a dual meaning, just as Hiranyaksha also had dual meanings, which ended up as glorifications of the Lord. Very good.
It is a message in reality. How two people fight, they have to be like this, isn't it, Prabhuji?
If only your wish can come true in the material world. That's not how material world is. Material world, they have bitterness. But yes, so here it's a play. It's not a real fight. It is just a play between the Lord and his devotees. Okay, so part 3 is verses 13 to 19. which is fight between Lord Varaha and Hiranyaksha. I request you all to please look at the chapter division that I gave you. I might have misquoted the count of the verses. So part 3 is verses 13 to 19. I'm sorry if I spoke incorrectly earlier. But
There was an overlap. I saw that, Prabhuji.
yeah, so it should be 13 to 19. Shivangi?
Prabhuji, sorry, could you repeat the part about the promised word? When he said that, what does that mean?
Sorry, which promised word?
From verse 12, he fails to fulfill his promised word. He does not deserve a seat in an assembly if he fails to fulfill his promised word.
Yeah. So what the Lord is saying is that Jai Vijay promised to the Lord in Vaikuntha that Jai Vijay will fulfill Lord's fighting desire. So Lord is saying that yes, you promised me. So keep your promise and give me happiness by fighting. And then the Lord says that one who does not keep his promise is unfit to sit in the assembly. So what the Lord is saying, that promise you gave me refers to the Jai Vijay giving promise to the Lord to fight, and not fit to sit in the assembly refers to that one who is not keeping the promise is not qualified to be in the spiritual world. That's what the Lord is saying and teaching us that way, that keep your promise. Shivangi, does that help you?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay. Uncle will read verses 13 to 19 translation. They are pretty straightforward. They are describing the fight between Lord Varaha and Hiranyaksha.
Hare Krishna. Translation, verse 13. Sri Maitreya said, the demon being thus challenged by the personality of Godhead became angry and agitated, and he trembled in anger like a challenged cobra. Verse 14. Hissing indignantly, all his senses shaken by wrath, the demon quickly sprang upon the Lord and dealt him with a blow with his powerful mace. Verse 15. The Lord, however, by moving slightly aside, dodged the violent mace blow aimed at his breast by the enemy, just as accomplished yogi would elude death. Verse 16. The personality of Godhead now exhibited his anger and rushed to meet the demon, who bit his lip in rage, took up his mace again and began repeatedly brandish it about. Verse 17. Then with his mace, the Lord struck the enemy on the right of his brow. But since the demon was expert in fighting, O gentle Vidura, he protected himself by a maneuver of his own mace. Verse 18. In this way, the demon Haryaksha, and the Lord, the personality Godhead, struck each other with their huge maces, each enraged and seeking his own victory. Verse 19. There was keen rivalry between the two combatants. Both had sustained injuries on their bodies from the blows of each other's pointed maces, and each grew more and more enraged at the smell of blood on his person. In this, their eagerness to win, they performed maneuvers of various kinds, and their contest looked like an encounter between the two forceful bulls for the sake of a cow. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So the demon may be very powerful in his own domain, but before the Lord, he is insignificant. Still, he is fighting. And in one of the verse, we read Haryaksha. So Haryaksha is another name of Hiranyaksha. Okay. So now part 4 is verses 20 to 28. Title is Brahmaji requests Lord Varaha to kill Hiranyaksha. So all these verses 20 to 28 are also straightforward, where Brahmaji is offering prayers. Anxiety of the demigods and Brahmaji is increasing because the fight is going on and on and on. Hence Brahmaji is praying, please kill Hiranyaksha immediately. Don't play with him. Lord could have killed the demon right away, but the Lord is playing. This is not an actual fight. This is actually a play. Hence Brahmaji is praying, please do not play. Please kill this demon. Dipanshu Prabhu, verse 20 to 28 translations, please.
Hare Krishna. Text 20. O descendant of Guru Brahma, the most independent demigod of the universe, accompanied by his followers, came to see the terrible fight for the sake of the word between the demon and the personality of Godhead, who appeared in the form of a boar. After arriving at the place of combat, Brahma, the leader of thousands of sages and transcendentalists, saw the demon who had attained such unprecedented power that no one could fight with him. Brahma then addressed Narayan, who was assuming the form of a boar for the first time. Lord Brahma said, my dear Lord, this demon has proved to be a constant pinprick to the demigods, the Brahmanas, the cows, and the innocent persons who are spotless and always dependent upon worshipping your lotus feet. He has become a source of fear by unnecessarily harassing them. Since he has attained a boon from me, he has become a demon always searching for a proper combatant, wandering all over the universe for this infamous purpose. Text 24. Lord Brahma continued, my dear Lord, there is no need to play with this serpentine demon who is always very skilled in conjuring tricks and is arrogant, self-sufficient, and most wicked. Brahma continued, my dear Lord, you are infallible. Please kill this sinful demon before the demoniac hour arrives and he presents another formidable approach favorable to him. You can kill him by your eternal potency without doubt. My Lord, the darkest evening which covers the world is fast approaching. Since you are the soul of all souls, kindly kill him and win victory for the demigods. The auspicious period known as Abhijit, which is most opportune for victory, commenced at midday and has all but passed. Therefore, in the interest of your friends, please dispose of this formidable foe quickly. Text 28. This demon, luckily for us, has come to his own accord to you, his death ordained by you. Therefore, exhibiting your ways, kill him in the duel and establish the words in peace.
Pretty straightforward Brahmaji's prayers. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 3rd canto, 18th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Battle Between Lord Boar and the Demon Hiranyaksha. Any questions, comments, realizations?
Prabhuji, Brahmaji must have been aware of the entire drama played by the Lord, correct?
You are absolutely correct. Therefore,
But despite that,
so Brahmaji is therefore describing to the demigods about the history of how Kumaras went and they got they cursed Jai Vijay. So Brahmaji is aware of this before.
If I remember correct, both the deity brothers are the boon from the benediction from Brahmaji. Am I right?
Who got the boon?
Both the Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu.
Yeah,
Benediction.
yeah, they got the benediction from Brahmaji. Both Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, they got the benediction from Brahmaji. You are correct.
So that they cannot be killed either on earth or in air.
Correct.
And that is why Lord, that's why Lord was centered in Causal Ocean. Causal Ocean, sorry, not Causal, Causal.
Yeah, so
Am I correct?
you are correct that they got both Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu got the benediction that indirectly they asked for benedictions so that nobody could kill them. But the Lord is above all this. After this, not in this chapter, but in Canto 7, when the other brother, Hiranyakashipu, will get killed by Lord Narasimhadev, Narasimhadev actually tells Brahmaji that don't give benedictions like this, that I have to come for this. Because Brahmaji gave the benediction, essentially nobody could kill these two. Of course, it's Lord's pastime. But what we have to understand is that demigod worship is like a business contract. So when these two brothers satisfied Brahmaji, Brahmaji gave them the benediction. Of course, first they asked the benediction that they should be made eternal. Brahmaji said, I am not eternal. How can I give you the benediction to be eternal? I cannot give you that benediction. Therefore, then these two brothers then got the benediction indirectly that no one can kill us during day, during night, nor by human, nor by animal. So they tried to make themselves invincible, but Lord has his ways to go around.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Chapter 19. Chapter 19 is titled The Killing of Demon Hiranyaksha. Is divided into 4 parts. I have given you the parts earlier. Part 1 is verses 1 to 29. Title is Fight Between Hiranyaksha and Varahadev. So even after Brahmaji prayed to the Lord to stop playing with Hiranyaksha and to kill Hiranyaksha, Lord continues to play, and if the fight goes on for little longer. It's not little longer, it actually goes on for quite long. So all these in 26 or so verses, the fight continues on and on and on, and it's now becomes evening time. So if you recall in the previous end of chapter 18, Brahmaji said, oh, the Muhurta, the Abhijit Muhurta is about to end or almost ended. Please kill him. The Lord just continued to play. So most of these verses are pretty straightforward. They are just describing that Hiranyaksha tried to hit the Lord like this, and then Lord tried to hit Hiranyaksha like this or that. It's just a description of the fight. There isn't anything more to discuss in these verses. So first 6 verses, Chandran Prabhu will read. is that Hiranyaksha overthrows Lord's mace.
Hare Krishna. The killing of demons, Hiranyaksha. Text 1. Sri Maitreya said, after hearing the words of Brahma, the creator, which were free from all sinful purposes and as sweet as nectar, the Lord heartily laughed and accepted his prayer with a glance laden with love. Text 2. The Lord, who had appeared from the nostril of Brahma, sprang and aimed his mace at the chin of his enemy, the Hiranyaksha demon, who was stalking fearlessly before him. Text 4. Text 3. Struck by the demon's mace, however, the last mace slipped from his hand and looked splendid as it fell down whirling. This was miraculous, for the mace was blazing wonderful. Text 4. Even though the demon had an excellent opportunity to strike his unarmed foe without obstruction, he respected the law of single combat, thereby kindling the fury of the Supreme Lord. Text 5. As the last mace fell to the ground, and a cry of alarm arose from the witnessing crowd of gods and resists, the personality of Godhead acknowledged the demon's love of righteousness and therefore invoked his Sudarsana discus. Text 6. As the discus began to revolve in the Lord's hands, and the Lord contended at close quarters with the chief of his Vaikuntha attendants, who had been born as Hiranyaksha, a village son of Diti. There issued from every direction strange expressions uttered by those who are witnessing from airplanes. They had no knowledge of the Lord's reality, and they cried, "May victory attend your play, your prey, dispatch him. Play no more with him." Hare Krishna.
Okay, pretty straightforward verses that the fight is being described. Now, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that Hiranyaksha had equal strength. Hence, the Lord's club fell. The Lord felt that no one is equal in strength to him. Hence, the Lord thought that no one can give me this fighting pleasure. And Lord wants to be defeated by his devotee. Hence, it is the Lord who gave Hiranyaksha so much strength. This Hiranyaksha being equal in strength to the Lord is actually by the mercy of the Lord for this play. Does not mean that that anybody is equal to or above the Lord. It is for this play of the fighting desire of the Lord gave Hiranyaksha so much strength. Everybody with me?
I seek one small clarification.
Yeah.
Lord Varaga was in deep sea, castle sea, deep. And now the second verse appeared from the nostril of Brahma. This is where a little confusion for me. Could you elaborate how this happened?
Which verse 2 are you referring to? This chapter 19?
In text 2, the Lord who had appeared from the nostril of Brahma sprang and aimed at his mace. That's the sentence.
Yeah. So if you recall few chapters back, that when all these bad omens were happening, and Swayambhua Manu and Satrupa had taken birth before, and Brahmaji had asked Satrupa and Swayambhua Manu to populate the universe, but they could not find earth, and they all were baffled at that time. From Brahmaji's nostrils, Varahadev had appeared and then grew very big and rose. So it's just a repeat of that fact that Lord Varahadev had appeared from the nostrils, and then the Lord Varahadev was had gone to the ocean to get the earth up, and now is back on the ground to do the fight. So it's just referring the previous fact that Lord Varahadev had appeared from the nostrils of Brahma.
Thank you.
Okay. Shalini or Gopal Krishna for 7 to 12 translation. So 7 to 12, now it's the Lord's turn to overthrow Hiranyaksha's mace.
Hare Krishna, text 7 translation. When the demon saw the personality of Godhead, who had eyes just like lotus petals, standing in position before him, armed with his Sudarshana discus, his senses were overpowered by the indignation. He began to hiss like a serpent, and he bit his lip in great resentment. Text 8. The demon, who had fearful tusks, stared at the personality of Godhead as though to burn him. Spring into the air, he aimed his mace at the Lord, exclaiming at the same time, "You are slain." Text 9. O saintly Vidura, while his enemy looked on, the Lord in his bold form, the enjoyer of all sacrificial offerings, playfully knocked down the mace with his left foot, even as it came upon him with the force of a tempest. Text 10. The Lord then said, "Take up your weapon and try again, eager as you are to conquer me." Challenged in these words, the demon aimed his mace at the Lord and once more loudly roared. Text 11. When the Lord saw the mace flying toward him, he stood firmly where he was and caught it with the same ease as Garuda, the king of birds, would seize a serpent. Text 12. His valor thus frustrated, the great demon felt humiliated and was put out of countenance. He was reluctant to take back the mace when it was offered by the personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
So again, just the fight is going on. There isn't really anything to discuss here. Now, Mother Chandranti will read verses 13 to 16 translations. So here, Hiranyaksha tries various ways to attack, but keeps failing.
Hare Krishna. Text 13. He now took a trident which was an rapacious as a flaming fire from hurled in it against the Lord, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, even as one would use penance for a malevolent purpose against a holy Brahmana. Text 14. Hurdled by the mighty demon with all his strength, their flying trident shone brightly in the sky. The personality of Godhead, however, tore it to pieces with his Sudarshana, which had a sharp-edged rim, even as Indra cut off a wing of Garuda. Text 15. The demon was engaged when his trident was cut to pieces by the discuss of the personality of Godhead. He therefore advanced towards the Lord and roaring aloud, struck his hard fist against the Lord's broad chest, which bore the mark of Srivatsa when he went out of sight. Text 16. Hit in this manner by the demon, O Vidra, the Lord who had appeared as the firstborn, did not feel the least quaking in any part of his body, any more than an elephant would even when stuck with the word of flowers. Hare Krishna.
So even though the demon is fighting fiercely, a very nice analogy in verse 16 that the Lord did not feel anything, just as the elephant when struck with flowers. Okay, questions, comments, realizations?
Could you please elaborate Srivatsa on the Lord's chest, the markings of Srivatsa?
So in Vaikuntha, everybody is built identically to the Lord with the bluish form and four-handed. So everybody kind of looks like Narayan. So how do you distinguish Narayan? So Narayan is the only one. Lord Narayan is the only one who has this Sri Vatsava mark on his chest. That's how you know who Lord Narayan is. All other souls in Vaikuntha, they look identical to the Lord, but they don't have the Sri Vatsava mark. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So in verses 17 to 22, Hiranyaksha creates illusions, and Lord's Sudarshan Chakra is able to destroy all illusions. Dipanshu Prabhu, 17 to 22 translations.
Hare Krishna. The demon, however, employed many conjuring tricks against the personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of Yogamaya. At the sight of this, the people were filled with alarm and thought that the dissolution of the universe was near. Text 18. Fierce wind began to blow from all directions, spreading darkness, occasioned by dust and hailstorms. Stones came in volleys from every corner as if thrown by machine guns. Text 19. The luminaries in outer space disappeared due to the skies being overcast with masses of cloud, which were accompanied by lightning and thunder. The sky rained pus, hair, blood, stool, urine, and bones. Text 20. O sinless Vidura, mountains discharged weapons of various kinds, and naked demonesses armed with tridents appeared with their hail hanging loose. Text 21. Cruel and savage slogans were uttered by hosts of ruffian yakshas and rakshasas, who all either marched on foot or rode on horses, elephants, or chariots. Text 22. The Lord, the personal enjoyer of all sacrifices, now discharged his beloved Sudarshana, which was capable of dispersing the magical forces displayed by the demon.
So straightforward, all the illusions are being created. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes Amrish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni story, that although Durvasa Muni sent a demon to hurt Amrish Maharaj, still Sudarshan Chakra detected the demon, defeated the demon, as well as also attacked Durvasa Muni. So now finally, the Lord kills Hiranyaksha. In verses 23 to 26, that's what is described. Is Shalini there? 23 to 26 translations.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. No, she is traveling, Prabhu, today.
Oh, you can go ahead, Prabhu. 23 to 26 translation and then 26 purport.
Hare Krishna, text 23 translation. At that very moment, a shudder suddenly ran through the heart of Diti, the mother of Hiranyaksha. She recalled the words of her husband, Kashyapa, and blood flowed from her breast. Text 24. When the Daman saw his magic forces dispelled, he once again came onto the presence of personality of Godhead, Keshava, and full of rage, tried to embrace him within his arms to crush him. But his great amazement, he found the Lord standing outside the circle of his arms. Text 25. The Daman now began to strike the Lord with his hard fist, but Lord Adokshaja slapped him in the root of the ear, even as Indra, the Lord of the Maruts, hit the Daman Vitra. Text 26. Though struck differently by the Lord, the conqueror of all, the Daman's body began to wheel. His eyeballs bulged out of their sockets, his arms and legs broken, and the hair on his head scattered. He fell down dead, like a gigantic tree uprooted by the wind. Purport. It does not take even a moment for the Lord to kill any powerful Daman, including Hiranyaksha. The Lord could have killed him long before, but he allowed the Daman to display the full extent of his magical feats. One may know that by magical feats, by scientific advancement of knowledge, or by material power, one cannot become the equal of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His one signal is sufficient to destroy all our attempts. His inconceivable power, as displayed here, is so strong that the Daman, despite all his demoniac maneuvers, was killed by the Lord, and the Lord desired, simply by one slap. Hare Krishna.
So one hit and the demon is finished. And all this time, the Lord was playing and enjoying. Therefore, for this fighting rasa, the Lord did not kill Hiranyaksha immediately, but went on playing and playing and playing with him. Questions, comments, realizations? Okay.
Small analogy, Prabhuji. The cat and the mouse, when you see, the cat doesn't kill immediately. So it plays like that. So this is how the Lord has treated the Hiranyaksha.
Yeah. Yeah,
What
very
a
good.
play he would have enjoyed.
Yeah, very good analogy comparison. Okay, very good. Yeah. So part 2 is verses 27 to 32. Brahmaji and others praised Hiranyaksha. So Brahmaji is glorifying Hiranyaksha because while seeing the face of the Lord, Hiranyaksha gave up his body. This is such a glorious death. Demon kicked by the Lord's lotus feet, the same lotus feet that the yogis are trying to meditate upon. Therefore, this was glorious death of Hiranyaksha, and therefore Brahmaji and others are praising Hiranyaksha. Mother Jija, verses 27 to 29, translations and purports.
Text 27. Aja Brahma and others arrived on the spot to see the fearful dust demon lying on the ground, biting his lip. The glow of his face was very unfaded, and Brahma admiringly said, "Oh, who could meet such blessed death?" Purport. Although the demon was dead, his bodily luster was unfaded. This is very peculiar because when a man or animal is dead, the body immediately becomes pale. The luster gradually fades and decomposition takes place. But here, although Hiranyaksha lay dead, his bodily luster was unfaded because the Lord, the Supreme Spirit, was touching his body. Once body bodily luster remains fresh only as long as the spirit soul is present. Although the demon's soul had departed his body, the supreme spirit touched the body, and therefore his bodily luster did not fade. The individual soul is different from the supreme personality of Godhead. One who sees the supreme personality of Godhead when he quits his body is certainly very fortunate, and therefore personalities like Brahma and other demigods eulogize the death of the demon. Text 28. Brahma continued, he was struck by a foot of the Lord, whom yogis seeking freedom from their unreal material bodies meditate upon in seclusion in mystic trance. While getting on his countenance, this crest jewel of Diti's sons had cast off his moral coil. Purport. The process of yoga is very clearly described in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is said here that the ultimate end of the yogis and mystics who perform meditation is to get rid of this material body. Therefore, they meditate in secluded places to attain yogic trance. Yoga has to be performed in a secluded place, not in public or in demonstration on stage, as nowadays practiced by many so-called yogis. Real yoga aims at ridding one of the material body. Yoga practice is not intended to keep the body fit and young. Such advertisements of so-called yoga are not approved by any standard method. Particularly mentioned in this verse is the word yam or unto whom, indicating that meditation should be targeted on the personality of Godhead. Even if one concentrates his mind on the form of the Lord, that is also yoga. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, one who concentrates his mind constantly in meditation upon the personality of Godhead is one of his many varieties of forms in the first class yogi, and he can easily attain trance simply by meditating upon the form of the Lord. If one is able to continue such meditation on the Lord's form at the time of one's death, one is liberated from this mortal body and is transferred to the kingdom of the God. This opportunity was given to the demon by the Lord, and therefore Brahma and other demigods were astonished. In other words, the perfection of yoga practice can be attained by a demon also if he is simply kicked by the Lord. Text 29. Translation. These two personal assistants of the Supreme Lord, having been cursed, have been destined to take birth in demonic families. After a few such births, they will return to their own positions. Hare Krishna.
Pretty straightforward about the yoga practice described. Dipanshu too.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, since Jay and Vijay both took birth in this world, so who was guarding the Vaikuntha Loks at that period of time?
Well, good. So it's described that that these pure devotees, they can be simultaneously present at different places. So Jai Vijay continued to guard the doors, and simultaneously they were also present here in the demoniac life. And when they went back, when it said, we just read in 29 that when they went back means that all this curse and the Leela was finished, and then they were permanently back in their original Swarupa.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, so now verse number 30. describes that only now the anxiety of the demigods is gone. Hence, the demigods are glorifying the Lord. Uncle, verse 30, translation and purport.
Hare Krishna. Verse 30, translation. The demigods address the Lord. All obeisance unto you. You are the enjoyer of all sacrifices, and you have assumed the form of a bow in pure goodness for the purpose of maintaining the world. Fortunately for us, this demon, who was a torment to the world, has been slain by you, and we too, O Lord, are now at ease in devotion to your lotus feet. Purport. The material world consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. But the spiritual world is pure goodness. It is said that the form of the Lord is pure goodness, which means that is not material. In this material world, there is no pure goodness in Bhagavatam. The stage of pure goodness is called Sattvam Visuddham. Visuddham means pure. In pure goodness, there is no contamination by the two inferior qualities, namely passion and ignorance. Therefore, the form of the bow in which the Lord appeared is nothing of the material world. There are many other forms of the Lord, but none of them belong to the material qualities. Such forms are not different from the Vishnu form, and Vishnu is the enjoyer of all sacrifices. The sacrifices which are recommended in the Vedas are meant to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In ignorance only, people try to satisfy many other agents, but the real purpose of life is to satisfy the Supreme Lord, Vishnu. All sacrifices are meant to please the Supreme Lord. The living entities who know this perfectly well are called demigods, godly or almost God. Since the living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, it is his duty to serve the Lord and please him. The demigods are all attracted to the personality of Godhead, and for their pleasure, the demon and for their pleasure, the demon, who was a source of trouble to the world, was called purified life is meant to please the Lord. And all sacrifices performed in purified life are called Krishna consciousness. The Krishna consciousness is developed by devotional service as clearly mentioned here. Hare Krishna.
Okay. And now the Lord departs. Mother Chandra Aunty, verse 31 and 32 translations.
Text 31. Sri Maitreya continued. After thus killing the most formidable demon Hiranyaksha, the Supreme Lord Hari, the origin of the boar species, returned to his own abode, where there is always an uninterrupted festival. The Lord was praised by all the demigods, headed by Brahma. Text 32. Maitreya continued, my dear Vidra, I have explained to you the personality of Godheads coming down as the firstborn incarnation and killing the great fight at the demon of unprecedented prowess as if he were just playing. This has been narrated by me as I heard it from my spiritual master. Hare Krishna.
So Maitreya Muni did not manufacture this, but Maitreya Muni is simply repeating what he has heard from his predecessor spiritual master. This is parampara. Now, part 3 of this chapter is verses 33 to 36. Title is Glories of Lord's Activities. Chandran Prabhu, 33 translation and purport.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Sri Sutta Goswami continued. My dear Brahmana, Shata Vidura, the great devotee of the Lord, achieved transcendental bliss by hearing the narration of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the authoritative source of the sage Kausarva, Maitreya, and he was very pleased. Can I go for the purport?
Yes.
If anyone wants to derive transcendental pleasure by hearing the pastimes of the Lord, he must hear from the authoritative source as explained here. Maitreya heard the narration from his bona fide spiritual master, and Vidura also heard from Maitreya. One becomes an authority simply by presenting whatever he has heard from his spiritual master. And one who does not accept a bona fide spiritual master cannot be an authority. This is clearly explained here. If one wants to have transcendental pleasure, he must find a person with authority. It is also stated in Bhagavatam that simply by hearing from an authoritative source, with the ear and the heart, one can release the pastimes of the Lord. Otherwise, it is not possible. Sanatana Goswami, therefore, has especially warned that one should not hear anything about the personality of the Lord from the lips of a non-devotee. Non-devotees are considered to be like serpents, as milk is poisoned by a serpent's touch. So, although the narration of the pastimes of the Lord is as pure as milk, when administered by serpent-like non-devotees, it becomes poisonous. Not only does it have no effect in transcendental pleasure, but it is dangerous also. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has warned that no description of the pastimes of the Lord should be heard from the Mayavada or impersonalists school. So he has clearly said, Mayavadi Bhashyas Sunail have Sarvanasa. If anyone hears the Mayavadi's interpretation of the pastimes of the Lord or their interpretation of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, or any other Vedic literature, then he is doomed. Once one is associated with the impersonalist, he can never understand the personal feature of the Lord and his transcendental pastimes. Sutta Goswami was speaking to the sages headed by Saunaka, and therefore he addressed them in this verse as Dvija, twice born. The sages assembled in Naimisaranya, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Sutta Goswami, were all Brahmanas. But to acquire the qualification of a Brahmana is not everything. Merely to be twice born is not perfection. Perfection is attained when one hears the pastimes and activities of the Lord from a bona fide source. Hare Krishna.
So, very important purport that if you hear or read Mayavad commentary, then your accumulated bhakti will get destroyed. Perfection is to hear pastimes from a bona fide acharyas. More than few devotees, I have told them that they were listening to whatever Bhagavatam is available on YouTube, and I have told them to destroy the link permanently. So on YouTube, so many so-called pseudo-spiritualists speak Bhagavatam, they have all these sannyasi dress and all these tilaks and beards, and they look like some elevated sannyasis, but they are not. And I have told to many devotees that whatever link they send me, oh, I am listening to Bhagavatam. I said, destroy that link permanently, because that is going to destroy your bhakti, because you are hearing from unauthorized sources. You are hearing Mayavad commentary. Everybody on the same page? Questions, comments, realizations?
Yogi, I realized this long ago when twice I quoted YouTube observation, but today I realized what is the significance that you asked me to ignore that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's if you read or hear from unauthorized Mayavad source commentary, then it's like you are drinking milk touched by a snake. It's poisonous. It's going to destroy your bhakti. All right. Shivangi, faster pace, 34 translation and purport. Again, very important purport here.
What to speak of hearing the pastimes of the Lord, whose chest is marked with Srivatsa? People may take transcendental pleasure even in hearing of the works and deeds of the devotees whose fame is immortal. Purport. Bhagavatam literally means the pastimes of the Lord and the Lord's devotees. For example, there are certain pastimes of the Lord of Lord Krishna and narrations of devotees like Prahlada, Dhruva, and Maharaja Ambarisha. Both pastimes pertain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because the devotees' pastimes are in relation with him. The Mahabharata, for example, the history of the Pandavas and their activities is sacred because the Pandavas had a direct relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
So very important that what to speak of pastimes of the Lord. Even if you hear activities of the devotees, you will be purified. Srimad Bhagavatam has Lord's activities and Lord's devotee activities. So yes, our bottom line goal is to remember Krishna at the moment of death. But according to this verse, that if you remember Srila Prabhupada or your spiritual master, both and or, Srila Prabhupada and or your spiritual master, at the time of death, you will attain the same Goloka Vrindavan and you will go back home to Godhead. So if you read Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita, you get the same benefit. Everybody on the same page? Questions, comments, realizations? Mother Jija, 35, 36 translations are pretty straightforward.
Text 35. Translation. The personality of Godhead delivered the king of the elephants who was attacked by an alligator and who mediated upon the lotus feet of the Lord. At the time, the female elephants who accompanied him were crying, and the Lord saved them from the impending danger. Text 36. What grateful soul is there who would not render his loving service to such a great master as the personality of Godhead? The Lord can be easily pleased by spotless devotees who resort exclusively to him for protection, though the unrighteous man finds it difficult to propitiate him. Hare Krishna.
Okay, part 4 is verses 37 and 38, which is Falastuti, are again pretty straightforward. Kalyani or Sridhar Prabhu, 37, 38 translations, last two verses.
Hare Krishna. 37. O Brahmanas, anyone who hears, chants, or takes pleasure in wonderful narration of the killing of Hiranyaksha, demon by the Lord, who appeared as the firstborn in order to deliver the world, is at once relieved of the results of sinful activities, even the killing of a Brahmana. Text 38 translation. This most sacred narrative confers extraordinary merit, wealth, fame, longevity, and all the objects of one's desire. On the field of battle, it promotes the strength of one's vital organs and organs of action. One who listens to it at the last moment of his life is transferred to the supreme abode of the Lord. Oh, dears Shaunaka. Hare Krishna.
Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 19th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Killing of Demon Hiranyaksha. Any questions, comments, realizations? Okay, so we have completed this unit number 11. Next week, you all will do your presentations. Thank you all for populating your respective names for the presentations that you plan to do. I won't give you any homework so that you can focus on doing your preparations for the presentations. Anybody has anything to inquire?
This Palestine, would you like to enlighten us?
Yeah, so it's explaining that if you hear this pastime, or any pastime, if you hear this particular pastime, the benefit is given that you will go back home to Godhead when you hear this pastime towards the end of your life, or always. It's not just at the end of your life.
One moment, Prabhuji, I wanted to ask. Palestine, correct. I had noted down to ask you, and today you have explained. Thank you so much.
All right. Gopal Prabhu.
Nothing, Prabhu. I said Hare Krishna.
Everybody, are we okay to stop here?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you also.
Hare Krishna.